Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio. My name is Daisy Galan, and this is our daily prayer program. Thank you so much for joining us for this moment of prayer, of connection with one another. So we invite you to join us today for another beautiful message by Emmanuel through this book, The Way, the Truth, and the Life, and also for a prayerful moment. So you might be asking yourself, right? What can you do in these moments that we are experiencing such difficult moments in our planet Earth? So why not join ourselves in prayer? If you want to learn more about the power of prayer, it's very important to read in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Kardec breaks down for us really how important it is for us to pray, not only when we are suffering, at every single moment in our lives. Prayer is a very, very powerful tool because when we pray, we raise ourselves up, we connect with those who are at the same frequency. So if it's a heartfelt prayer, a prayer from the heart, right? A good prayer, we're going to connect with the very high spirits and they will listen. We have seen on and on in books by Emmanuel, by André Luiz, how powerful it is prayer in our lives. But also, if remembers the thought to thought connection, right? So there is a need to really raise ourselves up. If it's a prayer that is only contains requests, right? Because I want this, I want that, I want this pandemic to end, right? It's valid, of course, but we also need to surrender ourselves to God, and surrender ourselves to what is really truly needed for us. So you might ask, but I pray, and my prayers are not answered. So maybe it's a time for us to really rethink and take ourselves out of that childhood position, right? Where we ask, and we think God's there only serving us, right? If we really raise ourselves up and we pray and then we watch our lives, we really see that God is really sending us the answers that we need, what we need, not necessarily what we would like. And there's a big difference on that. So this is only an introduction for us to get started, as I see many friends coming in here. So we invite you now for an initial prayer so that we can all connect ourselves with one another before we read this beautiful message brought by Emmanuel to each one of us today. So we ask that you use this time to stop what you're doing. We know we all have busy days, right? We have so many things happening in our homes, but if you can find a quiet place, this is the time. It's only a few minutes, but it's going to be very, very powerful to you and to your whole family and those connected to you. So we invite you now to close your eyes. And let us raise our thoughts to our dear loving God. We are, Father, so grateful for the opportunity to be right here, connected with your messengers. You know that we sometimes go through our days and we forget, Father, to stop and really connect with you. So at this very moment, Father, we take this opportunity to be in the presence of our guardian angels, of the spirit guides of Kardec Radio, to pray that we can open our hearts to be able to see the purpose of our lives, of our reincarnation. We know that, like children, we're still asking and asking, waiting to be served, while we should be putting ourselves as the adults to really have eyes to see and ears to hear your message and your plea to each and every one of us, that we can take these moments to recalibrate ourselves, to receive the treatment that we need at this very moment, and to liberate ourselves from feelings of pride, of self-centeredness, of angry, so that we can focus on forgiving ourselves and others, emanating kindness, love, understanding, and most importantly, renewing our faith in your designs. That at this very moment, those who need your loving and kind help can receive what they need. And with your permission, we open this moment of study and prayer for our hearts. And so be it. So friends, today we have again another beautiful message from Emmanuel, from the book The Way, the Truth, and the Life, psychographed by Chico Xavier. And if you have this book in your home, it is message number 55. It is titled Branches of the Vine. So in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verses 5, he quotes Jesus and he says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Jesus has been love and the good from the very beginning. All the benevolent ideas of humankind have originated from his divine influence. In this passage from the Gospel of John, he rightly tells his disciples that his sublime spirit represents the tree of life, and that his true followers are the promising fronds. He adds that if separated from the trunk, the branches would dry out and be fuel to the fire of purification. Without Christ, Without the essence of his grandeur, all human works are destined to perish. Science is fragile and impoverished without the values of the conscience. The religious schools are doomed to failure as soon as they depart from the true and the good. Jesus' mercy is infinite in the activities of planetary life. At the center of any noble expressions of life beats his loving heart, full of the sap of forgiveness and goodness. Men and women are green branches of the glorious tree. Whenever they fail at their duties, they dry up because they isolate themselves from the sap and fall to the ground of bitter experience, so that they may be purified by the fire of reparatory suffering, to be taken up again by Jesus and his mercy. Therefore, let us prove our faithfulness to the divine Master, reflecting on the many times that we have dried up in the past, in spite of the immense love that sustains us throughout life. Dear friends, what an inviting message, right? It's again short, but very, very deep. So let us break this message down here together. In this Gospel of John, he explains to us that Jesus is like a tree, like the trunk of a tree. Jesus is what sustains us. And then we, his disciples, we are the branches, right, out of the tree. You can see, right, a beautiful tree. It needs its trunk, its roots to stay grounded, to stay strong, right? And from there, it grows out its branches. So, isn't it so beautiful to think of us as literally parts of Jesus himself? Jesus has been this beautiful tree, and us being part of Jesus. And what does the trunk of a tree does to the branches, right? It takes nourishment, right? Food to the branches. So that's Jesus to us, right? In this reference of the vine of the tree. Jesus every day sustains our lives. He is the guided model, the emissary sent by our loving God to take care of our planet Earth. So he explained himself to us that we are parts of him. That means that we are all interconnected and together with Jesus, right? Isn't this so beautiful to think about it that way? So, in order for the branches of a tree to sustain themselves, they need this strong structure, right? This trunk. So, if we want to be fruitful branches, right, give out beautiful fruits, we need to be in this deep connection with Jesus. But he explains what happens if we don't, right? He says, whether men and women fail at their duties, they dry up because they isolate themselves from the sap and fall to the ground. Okay, so let's stop right there again. So when we fail in our duties, so you might be asking yourselves, okay, so what is my duties, right? So how can I know so I don't incur in this mistake of failing to fulfill our duties, right? It's really, really important. I invite you, if you want to learn more about duties, there is a beautiful program right here at Kardec Radio from this book, Thought and Life, by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. And there's a beautiful chapter, chapter 21, and we invite you, all of you, to watch this program because the title of the chapter is called Duty. So we're not going to have time to go through and really dive deeper on studying about duty, but it's very important that we reflect today on what is our duty in our lives. Because if we don't know, right, what is our duties, how are we going to be able to know if we're being like in the street, if we are drying out and falling out in sync, out of sync with the beautiful tree that Jesus is providing to us, right? And in this chapter, Emmanuel explains that the submission to certain principles established by the divine wisdom has laws for our self-development. So the fulfillment of the divine laws, right? The laws of God. Right there, that's one of our duties, to fulfill God's law. If you go to the Spirit's book in part 3, you can read all about God's law, right? The law of worship, the law of justice, charity, and love, right? The law of um, the law of progress. There are 10 of the laws that we learn directly from the spirits through Kardec. So, our duty. So let's bring this back to us so that we can really feel it, right? If it is the submission to God's law, and then later in the chapter he says, it is the heavy obligations in which we find ourselves due to the force of the natural circumstances along the way. So the forces of natural circumstances along the way. So we might think that, oh, is it by choice that you are in a family that you are, or that you are in a particular city, or you are at a particular job? We know, right, by studying spirits, that nothing is by chance. And Emmanuel is saying here that is the force of the natural circumstance along the way. So, what is your duty, let's say, on your family? So many people, right, have the duty maybe to readdress mistakes from the past, to be in a certain family. But then what happens, right? Most of the time, right, what we do, we run away from our duties. Jesus is there showing to us, make amends with this person, learn to understand, to forgive, learn to make amends, right? And what do? We go away, right? Or certain situations happen in our lives where Jesus is telling us, come on, here, I am providing you, like the tree, I'm providing you with the elements to go and fulfill your duty. But then we say, no, 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 not now, because I want this and I want that, right? And it's so interesting because as we're going through this pandemic now, we are seeing that there's no way to run, right? So why not now, the best time for us to think about our duties right now? So you are in your home. So what is your duty now if you are staying at home, right? Many people, they have to be out there, they have to be in the front lines. But if you're being asked to be at home, what is your duty there? Or if you are asked to be there, working and has essential services for all those, right? What is your duty in that task? Or, what is our duty if we have to fulfill a specific task. So it's an inner journey, right, friends? It's I know it's very hard, right? But it depends on our effort to understand it, because each one of us needs to take that inner journey to understand what is our duty. It's not someone else that's gonna tell you what it is, right? You can pray, you can ask your guardian angel to guide you to see, but we need to make sure that we do that inner journey, that we think about our duty. Because what happens if we come to this reincarnation, as this message says, and we fail in fulfilling that duty? Then what he says, the branch dries up and then it falls to the ground of bitter experience, so that they may be purified in the fire of reparatory suffering, to be taken up again by Jesus in his mercy. So, why do we suffer, right? He's saying here, the fire of reparatory suffering. Is it because as we don't fulfill our duties, we are then asked kindly by Jesus to be put in certain situations so that we can learn? And then again, Jesus comes along and brings us closer to his divine three, right? So that again, we can be a part of him. And like a tree, right, is a cycle. And think about it, in many reincarnations, right? We come back, Jesus gives us an opportunity. We don't fulfill our duties, right? We fall in suffering, in reparatory tasks, but then Jesus comes along and gives us another opportunity. So we are here incarnate right now on earth. So let's feel the blessings of this reincarnation, right? It's so blessed to be here right now, knowing that Jesus is providing daily opportunities for us. He's giving us life, he's giving us the nourishment that we need, but we also have our part. We have to fulfill this duty to stay connected. But what is the beauty of it, right? If we do fulfill this, we then, as one with the Christ, we are able to give beautiful, beautiful fruits that's gonna multiply, right? Like the branches of a tree. So we hope that this message can bring hopes to our hearts, right? So that we can feel one another in our daily tasks. Feel how you can be connected with Jesus as you are cooking your dinner with your family, as you are fulfilling your work obligations, or you are talking to a relative who is suffering, right? That is a way. Think about yourself connected with Jesus and says, Jesus, how can I fulfill the duty you're giving in front of me right now, so that I can multiply, right, the nourishment that you give me, and I can pass that along in each of our daily activities. So with that, we invite all of you now for a final prayer. So let's take this time to really receive this beautiful treatment as we're being treated here, as we are going through this study together. So let's close our eyes and let us imagine that a beautiful light comes from the sky and touches the top of your head, navigating towards your body. This light of green color envelops your whole body, and then it starts to change to yellow, blue color, white, purple, and has the colors of this beam of light expands and envelops you. It reaches your family members, your loved ones. It envelops your whole home, rescuing those who are in much greater need. This light then travels to your whole neighborhood, to your city, entering hospitals, prisons, nursing homes, the homes of your neighbors and relatives, and as this light continues to expand, it envelops the whole country where you are in, forming bridges of peace with neighboring countries, surrounding our whole planet Earth. And as you now see yourself looking at our beautiful planet Earth, receiving this healing light, we raise our thoughts to our loving Master Jesus, who sustains our lives with the trunk of his tree, who is always firm, stable, secure. And we, as his loving branches, we tell him, dear Master, thank you for providing everything we need in our lives without asking for anything in return. Thank you for the opportunities to reincarnate as many times as needed so that we can learn to fulfill our duties with you. That from today forward, we can commit ourselves to not taking this reincarnation for granted, but focus on fulfilling the duties that you assign to us so that we can grow to a beautiful tree, a fruitful tree with you. We ask that those in our planet, in both realms of life, who are in much greater need than us, can also receive the blessings of this prayerful moment so that they can feel stronger, knowing that everything passed and this shall also pass. And with deep gratitude in our hearts, we ask your permission to close this prayer for moments of today. And so be it. Dear loving friends, We thank you for joining us. I see so many beautiful friends here. Danielle, Ana, Luciana, Denise, Betty, Carol, Nora Brasil, so many others that I cannot see, but thank you so much. Oh, Paula, thank you so much for joining us. We invite you to continue listening to Kardec Radio. We have programs 24/7. You can listen to Kardec Radio in our app on your phone. You can join us via Facebook. There's always a new program that you can tune in and watch. And we invite you to join us tomorrow right here at 6 p.m. for our daily prayer program. A beautiful, beautiful hug to each and every one of you, and we'll see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye.